Hello everybody and welcome to the channel Out of Ammo, Out of Time. I'm your host as always, Krabby Terror 8, and here we are in episode... I'm having to check my own channel here. We are in episode 46. Yes, we are in episode 46 of the Investigator Games Season 1 with everybody's favourite salesman and entrepreneur, Bob Jenkins. Yes, and for those of you who are new to the channel, I welcome you heartily. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you very much for being here. I really do appreciate it. I can't believe we're still going after all this time, but we are still here and we keep on keeping on and we're getting through the edge of the earth. Investigators. Speaking of which, I actually received my Edge of the Earth box sets as of 2 days ago or 3 days ago. I can't believe it. It's been months and months of waiting, but finally it arrived. So I'm so delighted about that. I'm so pleased to actually have them. I have actually played because my local game group procured some from overseas and we played through the Edge of the Earth, but now I have my own. I can revisit again, maybe I might even try True Solo, which would be a bit insane, but anyway, never mind. Let's talk about the Investigator Games. What is the Investigator Games, I hear you ask? Well, it's like the Hunger Games, except we take each investigator true solo through a scenario, and here in Season 1 we are in the Gathering, and then in Season 2 we are through the Midnight Mass. But yes, in Season 1 we take them through, and depending on how they do, they end up in a league table like this one. Yes, so we can see everybody from the very top to the very bottom here in the table. And as we can see, now it's spoilers, of course, if you haven't seen some of the other ones, but we can see, yes, we've got everybody from Daniela right up the top. She did amazingly well, incredibly lucky in the Gathering. You know, you can only get 8 points if you're really lucky, all the way down to poor old Calvin, Lola, and Zoe languishing down the bottom. So, yes. So we will see how Bob goes. Now, spoilers, if you are new to Arkham Horror, the card game, you've never played before, you've literally, this is, you know, the first time you've looked at something like this, I would recommend you go and search out introductory material. There's lots of good stuff. I'm assuming you know how to play just a little bit. I know you might be here because you want to see how these investigators go or see how the Gathering goes. Now, just on that, if you want to know everything about the Gathering, I've done an in-depth video. Anything you could possibly want to know about the Gathering, the lore, the story, gameplay, tactics, I talk about it. I have some other fantastic content creators who talk about it as well, and I would definitely recommend you have a look at that one. So, yeah, so I think that's all in terms of the introduction. So, yes, Bob Jenkins, salesman and entrepreneur. Let's have a look at his card. If nothing else for my benefit, he looks like he's likes a scotch, likes a bourbon. Who doesn't? Looks like he's probably more interested in that. Doesn't seem like your typical kind of investigator. He doesn't seem overly serious about the mythos, but I could be wrong. His backstory might be a little bit different. But let's have a look at his stat line and whatnot. So he is salesman. He is traded entrepreneur. Now, if we look at his stat line, it's fairly flat, I suppose, fairly even. He's fairly well-rounded, I would say, all in all. He's got 4 intellect, So for a survivor, he's tending at the higher end of that, sort of almost in seeker territory, really, with that. And then he's got a very respectable 3 strength and 3 agility. Is it vitality, agility? The foot one. I can't remember which one. You think I would know these things by now. So he's all pretty good at that. So his ability to find clues, his ability to fight and evade is reasonable. So actually, he's not a bad investigator to use as a true solo investigator if you wanted. Although, as we'll see with his special abilities, he's really kind of leaning more into a multiplayer place. Now, his biggest downside is, of course, his willpower stat. He's only got a 2 in willpower. And that means he could struggle a little bit against the mythos in the encounter phase. So obviously there's ways to offset that, of course, with things like guts and other ways. But that's where he might come a bit of a cropper, of course. Having said that, he's pretty good on the old mental strength. He's got 8 of those. It's his physical strength where he's a bit on the low side. So that could be a problem with in the gathering with things like grasping hands. You're just going to be a bit careful. There's other cards as well along the way in the Midnight Mask, which can really leech your strength away. Hunting Shadow, I'm thinking of things like that. So you've just got to be a little bit careful. But if he's got, if he's got an ally on board and he's just careful about managing things, should be okay. So there we go. That's Bob Jenkins. Fairly good all-rounder from that perspective. Now, his special ability, there's quite a lot of text here, but it really boils down to sort of messing around with items, if you like. So, and this is where the multiplayer comes in. At any time, an investigator at your location may reveal to you the item assets in their hand. Now that can an investigator, not an other investigator, so that can include Bob. So in a true solo, you're just revealing them to yourself, really. So at any time, you can reveal the item assets. You may take an additional action during your turn, which can only be used to play an item asset. So basically, you get a free action to play an item asset from your hand. Now, play an item asset from the hand of an investigator at your location under their control. Both investigators may spend resources to pay its costs. So this is really fantastic. It means that bringing out items isn't a time tax. You can bring them out essentially using an extra action. So that's really, really great, and means that items can come out much quicker if Bob is around. I guess the idea diegetically in story mode is that he's able to, a bit like a sort of a Charlie Kane kind of figure, he's able to make things happen. He's able to get hold of items and get them to people when they need them, that kind of thing. So how that's going to play in True Solo is basically we can play the item assets as a free action, essentially. So there you go. Now his Elder Sign effect is just a +1, which is fine, but it's for each item asset you control. So again, you only need a couple of items out and you're getting, +2, +3. So really quite good from that perspective. So yes, all about items. So you would expect that Bob would have a fairly item-heavy deck because, he can play them. That also means that it doesn't matter if we lose the odd item, we can bring more out, and it's not going to cost us much more. And as we'll see, cards like there are cards that can in the survivor mode that can bring things back from your graveyard and that kind of thing. So there's some nice synergies there for Bob. Now, if we just flip over Bob and have a look at his standard deck size, he can take, so this is where we get into these Edge of the Earth things. He can take survivor cards level 0 and rogue cards level 1 to 5. So again, neutral cards 0 to 5 and then 5 other rogue cards. So even though he's technically a survivor, what's going to happen is that as he progresses, he's going to become increasingly more like a rogue with high-level rogue cards, and this is the way all of these investigators from the Edge of the Earth operate. And this is his backstory. According to Bob, the secret to success as a salesman is persistence. People just need to be told what it is they want, repeatedly. Recently, Bob came into possession of a handful of cursed golden coins, and he hopes the same persistence he so famously advocates will help him to uncover their origin and purpose. If he plays his cards right, maybe this will be his big score. Maybe he'll finally be able to retire and buy that boat he had his eye on and spend the rest of his days fishing in a tropical paradise. Maybe Bob will finally come to see all that glitters is not gold. So there we go. So not exactly a person who's particularly... It's the idea, you know, survivors are often people who just kind of end up playing against the mythos. They're not especially committed to anything. The other thing I would say, just flipping Bob back, is that it's just a small thing, but he doesn't give the appearance of someone from the 1920s. To me, he seems more like what you would expect a 1950s salesman to kind of look like in terms of his appearance. It's just a small thing, but he just seems a little bit anachronistic for the 1920s. I'm sure there were salesmen in the 1920s, but he feels more 1950s rather than 1920s, sort of that almost like madman type of character. But anyway, that's just a quibble from my perspective. It doesn't change anything at all. So there we go. There's Bob. So the other thing about the Investigator games is that every Investigator starts with their Fantasy Flight Games standard deck. Now, Fantasy Flight Games have neglected or are not putting out these standard decks anymore. So I've had to build one for myself using the revised core set and the Edge of the Earth. So I've had to put that together myself rather than relying on FFG for that. That's okay. So let's have a look at what I've put together, and we can see what you think about that. Now, if we just start with his standard cards or his main cards, he has a special one called Shrewd Dealings, which is, as usual with most of these sorts of special cards, it's a 2-cost asset with 3 pips, 2 of them intellect. Interesting that he's a survivor rogue hybrid, but his intellect is very strong, so he's almost like a sort of a rogue survivor seeker, almost in a way. It's really interesting. So this is only Bob Jenkins deck, of course. Reduce the cost of each item asset you play by 1. And there's a reaction trigger. When you play an item asset, play it under control of any investigator at your location. So really nice card. I mean, not only does it reduce the cost, but it allows you to distribute items to other people. So you can imagine in a multiplayer game that Bob could have all kinds of a veritable cornucopia of items that he could then dole out to others, which is very nice. You say end of the world, I hear business opportunity. Very nice, very nice. So that's his signature card, which is nice and synergistic. His signature weakness card is called appropriately Greed, and here we have a cockroach on a dollar bill. Here we have take 1 horror if you have 10 or fewer resources. Take 1 horror. Sorry. If you have 10 or fewer resources, take an additional horror. 5 or fewer resources, no resources. Worship by its own cult, you might say. So, yes, he is a survivor, and I've actually got Dark Horse in here. So, and because he's doling out items, it could be that he could take quite a bit of horror if this comes along. Having said that, he's pretty good at tanking horror, so we will see how he goes with that one. So I suppose if you do a big money type deck for Bob, then you wouldn't this wouldn't be a problem at all. I'm doing a dark horsey approach, so that might be a problem, possibly. And the random basic weakness I took was Through the Gates. Draw the top card of your deck. If it's not a weakness, remove that card from the game. Search your deck and discard pile of hand and all play areas for other copies and remove them from the game as well. Yeah, I mean, this can be fairly trivial. This can be profoundly terrible, depending on what you draw. So that's his Through the Gates. Now, in terms of his other cards, let's start with the 5 rogue cards. The main one I chose was Leo DeLuca, obviously. He's expensive, but if you get him on the table early, he can make a massive difference to your game, not only in the Gathering, but also in the Midnight Masks, obviously. So he's definitely one. And of course, part of where you come on the table is how quickly you manage to finish the game. So he can really help you be higher up on the table. I've also got a couple of copies of Elusive, which, yes, we're not playing Taboo. So that's always a handy card to have to flit around or get yourself out of a sticky situation. And I think I've got one other copy. Yes, so the other rogue card I got is Intel Report. Discover a clue at your location. You can discover 2 clues and you can do with something else. So that's quite a nice card to have as well. Now, in terms of the survivor cards, first of all, if we look at the weaponry, I've taken the baseball bat, which is quite a nice card. Gives you +2 to your attack and does +1 damage, but it can break. So that's the only downside. I've also got the meat cleaver. You get +1 for this attack. You can take a horror to deal more damage, and he can soak quite a bit of horror. So that seemed like a nice card to get. So we've also got the .18 Derringer, which also is nice because if you fail, you miss, you actually put an ammo on the .8 Derringer, so it kind of keeps going from that perspective. So lots of item weapon cards. We've also got Overpower in the deck, so that gives us extra fight if we need it. So that's sort of the fight cards. And then in terms of other survivor cards, I've got Dark Horse in here because that just gives us +1 to everything if we've got no resources. So this can be a nice thing to have once you've sort of got your items out and they're on the deck. We've got whatever we need. We don't need to spend any more money. We can use this to boost up. So then we're running at a 4 fight, 5 intellect, 4 agility. It's really nice. So that's a good card to have. We've also got copies of Lucky in there. You can always use Lucky. And Scavenging was something I chose because it's about items. You can choose an item card in your discard pile and put it back into your hand. So that was also a good card, I think. That's a good synergy with Bob. I've also got the old keyring in there because obviously that allows you to investigate at a -2 shroud. So that's good as well. And then in terms of neutral cards, I've got the good old Flashlight in there for getting for reducing shroud as well. I've put in the Heavy Furs. So as I said, we're lowish on physical strength, so Heavy Furs allows us to tank some. And after you reveal a non-autofail symbol on a Chaos token during a skill test you're performing, so that would be the Cultist, that would be the Skull, etc., you can deal a damage to Heavy Furs, cancel that Chaos token, and reveal a new one. So that's a handy little thing to be able to do if you just draw something like an Elder thing or something anyway, which means you're going to fail a test. And apart from that, in terms of neutral cards, we've got some standard ones. We've got Manual Dexterity that allows us to evade. We've got Perception, and actually there's a very real opportunity to get Leader Chandler on board because we've got fairly high intellect. So, our intellect plus perception would put us in a good space to do that kind of thing. And I think that's pretty much the whole deck. So there you go. I don't know. What do you think? Oh, sorry. And the last one is Guts. Obviously, Guts is a no-brainer because we're fairly low on willpower. So having a Guts, if we do draw, something like a Crypt Chill or something like that, we've got a Guts on hand to help us with that kind of role. So there we go. Okay, don't know, what do you think? That's the deck that I put together. So let's go ahead and shuffle that up. We'll shuffle that up. We're set up here in Octagon as per usual. I've put all the cards out because I don't want to have to mess around with them later. Usually in the gathering you don't do that, but it's just easier to put them all out. Now, I had a chat to Bob in the green room beforehand. We shared a couple of glasses of bourbon and a good chat together. He's one of the stipulations was that he wanted to make sure that he was allowed to advertise around the house. So you'll see there's these neon signs advertising various wares. I was a bit uncomfortable about that kind of level of promotion, but if it means the difference between Bob being there or not, I was okay with it. So you'll see, I'm sorry about the additional advertising you see on the house. It will come down after this particular scenario, but that's what Bob's about. So there we go. I think that's all. I think all we've got to do now is just read out the agenda and the act deck and wait for the bell to go. So here we are, Agenda 1A. What's going on? It's late at night and you're holed up in your study, researching the bloody disappearances that have been taking place in the region. A few hours into your research, you hear sound of strange chanting coming from the parlour down the hall. At the same time, you hear dirt churning if something were digging beneath the floor. And trapped. As you leap to investigate, the door to your study vanishes before your eyes, leaving behind on a solid wall. You're trapped inside your study until you can find another way out. There we go. So here we are in the study with our 3 actions. Bob's there. The crowds are in. They're just murmuring. And there it goes. There goes the bell. The crowd goes wild. Bob waves at the crowd and flashes his toothy grin. And we are ready to start episode 46 of season 1 of the Investigator Games. Okay, so what do we want? What do we want? What do we want? Let's shuffle everything up. Well, we definitely want Leo DeLuca. We definitely want a weapon. And some kind of way of getting extra clues would be great. So let's go ahead and draw 5. Okay, here we go. So there's Leo DeLuca. Very nice. We've got, oh, look at this. We've got so much of everything. We don't need this many weapons. Let's see. Let's keep those 3 and draw 2 more. Oh, can't have that. There we go. Okay, so interesting. Okay, so we've got our Dark Horse, but before we use Dark Horse, we've got to obviously get our other bits out. That's all right. We can do all of that. So, okay. So I'm pretty happy with this. The only thing that this doesn't have, which isn't terrible because we've got 4 intellects, so we're not going to be struggling at the beginning, is some ways, particularly when we get down to the cellar, but we've got time that we get a flashlight or the old key ring or something. So as long as that pops along. But also if we've got Dark Horse out, we'll be running at a 5 intellect. So yeah, it doesn't seem too bad to me. So let's go ahead. So first action, I'm going to actually take another resource And I'm not going to add it because second action, I am literally going to zero our resources. Yep, zero our resources, bring out Leo DeLuca. There we go. Which means we get an extra action. So we've still got 2 actions left. So I think we go ahead and investigate. Let's see if we can do that. Then we can worry about getting out some weaponry. So the only slight danger of that is if we draw something like a ghoul minion, but we should be able to handle a ghoul minion even without weaponry. So I think we'll be fine. So for our third action, I'm going to go ahead and investigate. We're a 2 versus a 4, so we're 2 up. Let's see what the Chaos Bag has. And the Chaos Bag has a -1, so we get the clue. Very nice. And let's do it again. Chaos Bag gives us another -1. Yes, it's 2 -1s. You can't actually see it there, but it actually is. And we get both clues. There we go. So we might as well go ahead and throw in those clues. So we will... hold on. I'm just thinking... okay, so I'm sorry, before I do that, I'm just thinking we could take an additional action to play an item asset, but the problem is that we can't afford the other item assets. So at the moment, we won't do that, but next time we can do that. So we can actually have 5 actions in a go because we can take an extra action to play an item asset. So we will do that next time. But we didn't have any money left, so I mean, we could have spent 2 actions getting 2 resources, and then we could have spent an action bringing out, say, the baseball bat. But I would rather get the clues and move on. So let's throw those in. 2 in. And we will flip the trapped to the door on the floor. You notice that the edges of your newly purchased rug are tattered and mud-stained. Finding this odd, you shift the furniture aside and pull back the rug. To your surprise, you see the door leading out of your study. You slowly turn the knob, and the door swings open, revealing your hallway below. You jump through the doorway, landing on your feet on soft dirt. The door to the study slams shut above you. The smell of burning wood fills the narrow hall, intermingled with the scent of rot and decay. Okay, so we put in the hallway, cellar, and attic and parlor, get rid of the study, hallway, and all that kind of thing. So we will do that. So study goes away. We're in the hallway. We will flip the hallway. There we go. There we go. So we are now in the hallway. The walls of your house are splattered with mud, and your hardwood floor is gone, replaced with a dirt path. Dear. So we're now in the barrier. A glowing barrier blocks the path to your parlor. As you move toward it, intense heat forces you to back away, picking up a handful of dirt. You toss it at the barrier and watch in horror as the dirt incinerates. Perhaps there's something in the cellar or attic that can help. Beard stroking time. Oh, he doesn't have a beard, but anyway. When the round ends, investigators in the hallway as a group may spend the requisite number of clues to advance. There we go. So that's the end of our turn. So that was a pretty good start. We took a resource. We played Leo DeLuca. Now, we couldn't use our special ability because it has to be an item asset, and Leo isn't an item asset. So we played Leo DeLuca, which still left us with 2 actions, and we got both clues, and we ended up in the hallway. So next time, I think we can do some things and get some weaponry out and do things like that and get ourselves up to the good old attic. So pretty good start. So we move into the enemy phase, yes, or the enema phase, as I like to call it. No enemas to speak of. So we will move into the upkeep phase, and we get manual dexterity. Could be handy, but no ways of dealing with the clues down in the cellar, which would be nice to have. Okay, so I think we're up to, yes, the first Mythos phase. First Doom is down. Let's see what the encounter deck has, and it's got Rotting Remains. Yes, Rotting Remains. So good that we have a Guts in our hand, because it's test 3. For each point you fail by, take a horror. We are a 2, so let's throw in the Guts. I don't want to throw in either of these. So what are we talking about? We're talking about a 3 versus a 4. So we're 1 up. That's pretty good. Let's go ahead and see what the Chaos Bag has. The Chaos Bag has a -2, so we don't pass because we're a 4 minus 2 is 2, so we actually do take a horror. We'll put that on Leo. He can take the horror. No biggie. So we didn't get to draw a card, but at least it saved us some horror. So there we go. All right, let's move into the good old investigationing phase. 3 actions onto good old Bob. Okie dokie. So what are we going to do here? Well, I think I will feel much more comfortable if I actually had some weaponry. Because, you know, in case we draw a ghoul minion or an acolyte or something, or even we get one of the nastier ghouls, we need to be able to deal with that. The other thing is we just need some more stuff. So first action, sorry, and it's 4, isn't it? I'm thinking 3. It's actually 4 actions. You're probably all screaming at me there. So the first action, I will take a resource. Yep. Now, second action is an additional action because we're going to play an asset. So we're going to spend the 2 resources and we're going to bring out the baseball bat. There we go. So we now have weaponry on board, which is great, but that didn't even cost us an action. We've still got 3 actions left. Wow. Incredible. So for our second action, well, yeah, technically our second action, we will move up to the attic. Here we are. After you enter the attic, take a horror. Okay, well, we'll take a horror. No biggie. And then let's go ahead and get these clues. We might as well. The other thing we could do is take resources, because I do want to bring out Dark Horse to boost our stats, but we don't need to do that yet. There's no need for that yet, so let's not worry too much about that. So let's... interesting that Dark Horse is an asset, but it's kind of a condition. Anyway. Okay, so let's take an action to investigate. It's a 1, and we are a 4. So we're a 1 versus a 4. Let's see what the Chaos Bag is. And it's an auto fail. Ah, no. Auto fail, never mind. Let's try again. Chaos Bag gives us a -1. That's more like it. And we get the clue. Okay. So that was kind of okay, wasn't it? We started in the hallway. So we took an action to take a resource. We then got a free action to bring out the baseball bat using our special ability. We then, second action, popped up to the attic, took a horror, and then we spent 2 actions trying to get clues, but we auto failed 1, so we ended up with 1 clue. So I guess the thing to do next time will be get that second clue, and then we can start working our way down to the cellar and see how we go. Okay, so we move into the enemy phase. No enemies to speak of. So we must move into upkeep, and we get intel report. Okay, very nice. Yep. So, yes. That can be good for hoovering up clues. Also, it's a double intellect, so getting Lita Chandler on board would also be very handy if we use the intel report as well. So we can use it for either of those. So let's move into the good old Mythos phase. There are 2 Doom. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And it's got, yes, a ghoul minion. A ghoul minion. Hello. Humanoid, monster, ghoul, a nameless blasphemy. Here we go. So the ghoul minion is upon us. I'm glad we brought out the baseball bat. That's going to make things a lot easier to deal with the good old ghoul minion. Okay, so let's move into the investigation phase. 4 actions onto good old Bob. Doing pretty well here, doing pretty well. So first action, let's take a swing at the good old ghoul minion. So what are we? We are a 3 fight, but we get +2, so we're a 5 fight. And we will kill it. However, if we do get a skull or an auto fail symbol, the baseball bat we will have to discard it. But that's all right. We've got the meat cleaver in hand. So let's see how we go. So Chaos Bag gives us a tablet. And what were we again? We were a 3. We were a 5. A 5 and a tablet is a -2. 5 for 3. 3 on a 2, so we still do succeed. If there is a ghoul enemy at your location, take a damage. So we take a damage. Let's put the damage on to Leo. So we do take a damage, but we still succeed. 5 -2 is 3. 3 versus 2, so the ghoul minion goes down. And we keep the baseball bat. There we go. Very nice. So that was our first action. Second action. Let's go ahead and get this clue. So it's a 1 versus a 4. Let's see what the Chaos Bag has. It has a 0. We get the clue. And that means, yes, that means we get, and put a little symbol on it, we get our first victory point and the crowd goes wild. Yes, we get our first victory point. That's great. Okay. So we've still got 2 actions left. What should we do? What should we do? Well, I think it's pretty obvious what we do. We pop down, take 2 actions and pop down to the cellar. Yes, and Bob and Leo are so busy chatting and talking about how well they've been doing in the Investigator games. They don't watch what they're doing. And Bob slips and tumbles down the stairs and takes a damage. Ouch. Yes, he takes a damage. There we go. Okay, so that's the end of the turn. So that was pretty good. We started up in the attic with the ghoul minion on as we baseball batted the ghoul minion to death. We then took 2 actions to get the... an action to get the final clue. We got a victory point, and then we popped down to the cellar, and we took a damage. So next time, we can start to think about getting the clues in the cellar. The only slight problem is that we're a sort of a 4 on a 4, so we're a little bit challenged to get those clues, and we haven't got, even though we got lots of cards which deal with it. So I hope we get a flashlight or an old key ring or something when we draw next. So enemy phase, there are no enemies because we baseball batted them. We move into upkeep and we get perception. Well, there we go. That's a good one to get, isn't it? That was a nice time to get that. So we will move into the third mythos phase. There we go. It has flipped. So let's flip that over and see what it says. A lapse in time. Your house continues to change before your very eyes. The walls have decayed and the ground in many rooms has turned to dirt. It's almost as if you've been transported somewhere else entirely, although every now and again you recognize elements of your former home. That's where my 12-year-old Scotch decanter went. I wondered where that had gone. There's those vacuum cleaner parts that I could never sell door to door. The lead investigator must decide either each investigator discards a card at random from their hand or takes 2 horror. Ooh, what do we do? I don't really want to lose these cards in my hand. So I might take the 2 horror because I think we're okay on the horror front. Yep. All right. And we get Rise of the Ghouls. The floor beneath you is giving way and you see a vast network of tunnels twisting into the darkness below. Oh, shapes and silhouettes of strange creatures move swiftly through the tunnels, trying to find a way up. You probably don't want to be here when they do. Okay. All right, so all right. Let's see what we get from the encounter deck. And the encounter deck gives us another ghoul minion.
Hello? Here, didn't you kill my brother?
It reminds me of a Lexi Sale song from a long time ago. Anyway. Okay, so yes. So there we go. We've got a ghoul minion on this. Investigation phase, put 4 actions onto good old Bob. Okay, so let's go ahead and fight the old ghoul minion. So it's a similar deal again. We are a 5 versus a 3. A 5 versus a 3. Let's see what the Chaos Bag has. And it's got a -4. So 5 minus 4 is 1. No. 5 versus 2, sorry. We miss. Swing and a miss. That's all right. Let's try again. We will try again. Let's see what the Chaos Bag gives us. And it gives us a skull. Okay. Interesting. Gives us a skull. So skull is the number of ghoul enemies. So it's -1. So a 4 minus a 2. So we succeed and we kill the ghoul minion. However, the baseball bat breaks as a consequence. I thought that might happen, but that's all right. Okay, so there we go. We have lost our baseball bat. Yes, well, that's okay, because what I'm going to do is for my third action, I'm going to take a resource. Yep. And then get a free action. I'm loving this free actions, and bring out the meat cleaver. We get a free action. And the other thing I just noticed, I didn't say this before actually with his special ability, but often with special abilities you notice it says limit once per round, limit one. This doesn't have any limitation. You can literally do this as many times as you want. You can take additional actions. I can't see why you can do it. So, I mean, obviously you run out of money, but that's the limitation, is resources. So I think a big money Bob Jenkins deck, thinking about it, one which just generates heaps of cash, is really the way to go, because you can just do generating stuff to bring out items, which in a multiplayer game would be awesome, because it means people just get their items out much quicker. Anyway, enough about that. Here we have the meat cleaver. +2 if you have 3 or few remaining sanity. Well, we don't. Well, that's good to know anyway. Yep. Okay, so there we go. We've still got 1 action left. What do we do? So we've got perception, and we're running at a 4 intellect, so that would give us a 6, wouldn't it, if we did that? So we could go ahead and do that. Why don't we do that? So we will, for our final action, we will throw in perception. 6 on a 4. Chaos Bag gives us another skull. So we succeed. We get the clue. And because we succeed, we draw a card. And we get a guts. Okay. So that's good. We've only got 1 clue left. We're a bit... I guess we might have to use Intel Report to get the final clue. I was hoping to keep it, though, because I wanted to go ahead and chat to Lita Chandler. So we'll see what we get anyway. So that was a pretty good round. We started by, we baseball batted the ghoul minion again to death, another one. So we got rid of the ghoul minion. We then took a resource. And then because we took a resource, we brought out the meat cleaver. So we should still have 2 actions left. We hit the ghoul minion, that was our first action. Second action, we took an extra resource, add a resource. Then we took a free action to bring out the meat cleaver. So we still had 2 actions left. And then we played perception. So actually we've still got an action left. I'm missing an action. So we've still got an action left where we could do something. I don't want to draw a card on my final action. So, or should we? No, let's take a resource. So I'm going to take a resource for my final action. I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah, it's good. Always good to review these things. No enemies to speak of. We move into upkeep. We get a flashlight. That's brilliant. That's exactly what we want. So now we can get that final clue, and we can keep this intel report for Leo DeLuca, for good old Lita Chandler, I think. All right. That's great. Okay, let's move into the Mythos phase. First doom of this second agenda is down. Let's see what the encounter deck has. Ooh, Icy Ghoul. Wow, that was lucky. That came out then. We're in the cellar and the Icy Ghoul has appeared. Ooh, wow, okay. Wow, all right. That's good. Okay. Investigation phase. 4 actions. On to Bob Jenkins. So let's forget the flashlight for now. Let's have a look at where we are here. So the Icy Ghoul is 3/4/4. So we could use manual dexterity and evade. So one thing we could do is we could attempt to evade the Icy Ghoul. We could take a resource, play Dark Horse, and then we would be running at a 4 fight versus 3. That would be one thing we could do. The problem with that is 5 versus 4. That feels more like if things are not going well and we want to avoid taking any damage. So we'll keep that in our back pocket. Let's have a look here. We're running at a 3 fight. Now with the meat cleaver, that gives us a 4 fight, doesn't it? Yes, that gives us a 4 fight versus 3. And we can take a horror to do 2 damage. Look, we've got lots of time. So let's go ahead and just start fighting and see how we go. Rather than the other way, let's keep the manual dexterity in our back pocket and let's just see how we go. So the first action, let's fight. So we're 4 versus a 3. We're 1 up. We've got nothing to contribute. So we're 1 up. Let's see how we go. Chaos Bag gives us a -3, so we miss. Okay. We miss. All right. Let's try again. Chaos Bag gives us a +1, so we succeed. We absolutely succeed. If you, as an additional cost to initiate, hold on. You get +1 for this attack. If this attack defeats an enemy, as an additional cost to initiate this ability, you get +1 for this attack. Instead of the attack defeats an enemy, you may heal a horror. As an additional cost to initiate this ability, you may take a horror and have this. Oh, so you've got to actually say ahead of time. You can't say it afterwards. Okay, so we've done 1 damage. Yeah. Wow, okay. Ooh, okay. We've got 2 actions left. I feel like we better try and... I'm actually not feeling so confident. I had this thought in my mind that you can take the horror afterwards. But no, you've got to actually do it ahead of time. And we're only 1 up. So I'm going to go ahead and use manual dexterity. So I'm going to give us a 5 on a 4. Chaos Bag gives us -2, so we miss. Ooh. Okay. All right. Final action. Let's fight again. -1, so I think we succeed. I don't want to take the horror though, but anyway, that's 2. So we've done 2 points of damage. Ooh, okay, okay. So in the enemy phase, we take 2 damage and 1 horror. So 3 and a 4. Okay, we're still not at the threshold with the sanity. All right. And then we move into upkeep. We get another dark horse. Is the world trying to tell me something here? Oh, okay. Mythos phase. Okay, let's see what the encounter deck has. And it's got an obscuring fog. Oh, attach it to your location. Woo, okay. Oh, okay. That makes things a little bit tougher. All right, let's move into the investigation phase. 4 actions onto Bob. Now, I'm actually thinking we're going to keep fighting, but actually, I'm actually thinking we actually are going to take a horror, because then if we are at 5 horror, we've got 3 or fewer remaining sanity, so we get +2 to this fight now. So we are now running at a 3, 5, 5 on a 3, so we're 2 up. Let's see what the Chaos Bag has. So first action, we will fight. Chaos Bag is -2, so that we succeed. That's right, isn't it? So +2 instead if you have 3 or few remaining sanity. As an additional cost, take a horror, +1 damage. So we defeat the Icy Ghoul. Ah! Yes, and the crowd goes wild as we get a victory point, and because we defeated it, we heal a horror. So we get a horror back. Nice. Okay. So that was our first action. Our second action, let me think about this. Our second action, I'm actually going to spend this 3 and I'm going to bring out the Dark Horse, because now we are we're now +1 on everything. We've got no more we've got no monies. So we've got 2 actions left. Let me think about this. So we're now running at a 5, but this has now become a 6 shroud location. So we definitely need the flashlight. Well, the other way we could do it is we are a 5, 6, 8. We could make it an 8, but I actually want to keep this. So what I'm thinking is what do we do here? I'm going to draw a card. And I'm going to take a resource. Yes, I'm going to draw a card and take a resource, because next time we'll bring out a flashlight. Yep. Okay, so that was a interesting round. So we started, we took a horror, which meant we were running at a +2, and we defeated the Icy Ghoul and got a horror back. So we are now still 4 away from going a bit crazy, but we've also got Leo DeLuca. So that was the first thing that we did. We then spent 3 to bring out Dark Horse. We then drew a card and we took another resource. So next time we can bring out the flashlight and reduce this down, so that we'll be able to actually investigate and get this final clue. Okay, so let's move into the enemy phase. No enemies to speak of, so we move into, do we want to gain a resource? We do want to gain a resource, so we get a resource. This is the thing about Dark Horse, you can actually decide whether you want to get a resource, but while you have resources, you don't get the benefit. Okay. So let's move into the Mythos phase. Third Doom is down of 7. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And it's got Grasping Hands. Oh, okay. Actually, that's a bad one to get. Oh, it's not too bad, but if we'd had the Dark Horse, we would have been better. But anyway, it's a 3 versus a 3. So now, worst case, we're going to have to kill Leo DeLuca, but let's hope hope it doesn't come to that. 3 versus 3. Let's see what the Chaos Bag has. It has a skull, which is 0, so we're fine. That was lucky. I was a bit worried there. That could have really been quite nasty. Okay, so we'll put 4 actions on to good old Bob. Right. Okay. Well, first action is going to be a free action. We're going to spend the 2. We're going to bring out the flashlight. There we go. So that was a free action. That's our special ability. It doesn't cost us anything. We've still got 4 actions. Wow. Next action. Ooh, okay, so first action, first real action is we can spend on the flashlight to investigate. So we get -2 shrouds. So it's back down to 4. And we are a 5 with the Dark Horse. So we can make that a 6. Let's try that. 6 versus 4. We are 2 up. Chaos Bag gives us 2 down. So 6 versus 4, we succeed. That was right, wasn't it? So we reduced it back to 4 with the flashlight. And we were running at a 5 and 6. -2, 6, 5, 4, 4. We get the clue. We get the victory point, and the crowd goes wild. We got to connection. And also we get rid of the obscuring fog because we successfully investigated. There we go. So we've still got 3 actions left. We are pretty much set up here now, aren't we, for taking on the Ghoul Priest. Let me think about this. So the Ghoul Priest is going to have a fight of 4. We can make sure we're running at a 3, 5, 6. Yeah. But I'm thinking we should get Leader Chandler on board for this, I think. So, but the only thing is to do that. We can do that, but then we would have to evade the Ghoul Priest, and I don't think we're really in any kind of So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move up to the hallway. We've still got 2 actions left. We don't want to take any money. We've got nothing like overpower or anything like that, which would be really handy. So I might draw a card. Lucky, that's good. And I might draw another card. Derringer, okay. Well, that's a fight pip. Okay, so there we go. Yep. So we basically stayed in the cellar. We brought out the flashlight for free, essentially. We still have 4 actions left. We then have successfully investigated. We then moved up to the hallway, and then we drew 2 cards. I'm conscious we haven't drawn any of our weaknesses, and that worries me a bit. So the good news is, though, we can't lose our meat cleaver if we get through the gates, because we have the other copy, so we wouldn't lose that. Yeah, so I've got to think about whether we're in a position to... if we had elusive, then it would be a no-brainer getting to Leader Chandler, but we don't have that. So we move into the enemy phase. There are no enemies to speak of. So we move into upkeep, and we get another lucky. Do we want to gain a resource? Oh, of course, lucky costs a resource. I think the answer is no, we don't, because we don't want to lose our abilities here. So that's the problem with lucky. It actually costs something. So actually, it kind of doesn't work with Dark Horse. I didn't think about that. So, yeah. So let's move into the Mythos phase. 4 Doom is down. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And it's got another Grasping Hands. Oh, wow. Okay. Ooh. And still, we did take a resource, so we can't use lucky. Ooh, boy. So, but having said that, we are running at a 4 now. 4 versus 3. So we're 1 up. So that doesn't seem too bad. Let's see what the Chaos Bag is. 0, so no problem. Okay. Whew. So we move into the investigation phase. 4 actions. And I've just realized we passed the time when we could have thrown in our resources. So we really have to take this time to do something. We've passed the time. So what do we do? We've got 4 whole actions. So we've really got to spend this time setting ourselves up for when the Ghoul Priest arrives. And we don't want to take any resources. So I guess... It'd be great to get an elusive, wouldn't it? Let's draw a card. Baseball bat. Let's draw again. Oh, manual dexterity. Okay. Well, that gives us a 3, a 4, a 6. All right. Let's draw again. Old key ring. Let's draw again. I'll keep drawing, which is probably correct. Ah, there we go. Elusive. But again, I can't use elusive because... but we can use the pip on it. So what I'm thinking is, I think we go ahead, throw in... I think we try and evade the Ghoul Priest, get into the parlour. If not, if that doesn't work, then we just go toe-to-toe with the Ghoul Priest. So let's move into the enemy phase. All we did was just draw some cards. No enemies to speak of, so we move into upkeep. We've got to get rid of something here. We've got lots of everything. Well, we can't really use lucky, so let's get rid of lucky. Do we gain a resource? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've still got too many cards. We've got to rid of more. We've got to get down to 8. We don't need the old... Oh no, we don't need the old key ring. Definitely want the Derringer. Definitely want that. Don't need Dark Horse. And that, because we want the pips on these other ones. Okay, I think we're right now. So it's the end of the round. This is the upkeep phase. Let's throw in our 3 clues. There we go. Let's do it. The barrier. Using the barrel from the attic, you carry ice and snow from the cellar and hurl it at the barrier. The barrier sparks and shudders as it consumes the ice, and it hisses and fades into existence. The barrier blocking the passage to the parlour has vanished. Reveal the parlour. Yep. Put the set-aside leader chandelier into play in the parlour. There we go.
Hello, Bob. Oh, hello, Bob.
Oh, you're with Leo. Oh, you lot look like you're all set up. Oh, you're looking very Dark Horse today, Bob. Why don't you pop in, bring me on board, get rid of that useless Leo, and we'll bash this Ghoul Priest to death. And finally, set aside Ghoul Priest in the hallway.
Hello, Bob. Oh, me cleaner. Dark Horse. Bob, are you looking for some 24-year-old scotch? Because instead of bashing me, maybe you'd like a bottle.
What have you done? A woman with a torch stands in a parlour, a glimmer of hatred in her eyes. What have you done to my barrier? She screams, furious. But before you can answer, a ghastly wail sounds behind you, and a creature wearing robes and a deer skull mask tears through the wall, advancing towards you. If the Ghoul Priest is defeated, advance. There we go. Okay, it's all on now. All right, let's move into the Mythos phase. 5 Doom. Let's see what the encounter cards are. Oh, Frozen in Fear. Well, thank goodness we've got Guts, because I just realized I threw out a whole lot of willpower things. Oh my goodness. Frozen in Fear. What a time for Frozen in Fear to turn up. Oh my goodness. Luckily we're running at a 3, and we've got a guts, so that's something. Oh, wow. Oh, no. Okay, investigation phase, 4 actions, on to Bob. Okay, so... okay. So let's try and get Leader Chandler on board. And that's going to take 2 actions to do that because of Frozen in Fear. So let's throw in these cards to do it. So what are we talking here? We are talking a 3 plus Dark Horse is a 4, 5, 6, 7. A 7 on a 4, we are 3 up. Let's see what the Chaos Bag has, and it's got a -1. Yes.
Where have you gone?
These go in, and we draw a card. now we get Heavy Furs. Ah, boy. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have any cash. I just realized that Dark Horse is great, but actually it kind of doesn't really work synergistically with Bob's other things. So it's good in one way, but it's kind of down on the other. But I guess the idea is that I always thought about it this way, is you set yourself up with everything you need, then you bring out Dark Horse. So there you go. Okay, so we've evaded the Ghoul Priest. Now, Frozen in Fear is only the first time you fought one of the following. So it's not like every single time. Second action, let's move into the parlor. Yep. And fourth action, let's parley Leader Chandler. So we are running at a 5 intellect. We've got to do this as a 4. So we can use the intel report. We can use the old key ring. So that gives us a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That gives us an 8. An 8 on a 4. Let's see what the Chaos Bag has. Ooh! I think we did it. 4, 5, yes. 6, 7, 8. Wow, we just did it. Oh, all right, if you say so. Geez, Bob, you're not very good at explaining things, are you? All right, so Leo's gone, and Leader Chandler has moved. So we've lost Leo. That's all right. End of the game. So we now have Leader Chandler on board. So, wow, we're really stacking the pluses here. So now we're fighting at a 3, 4, 5. Before we even start applying things like the meat cleaver. So we are in a good place now to go ahead and take on the Ghoul Priest, I think. Okay, it's the end of our go. So first of all, so we started here in the hallway. First action, we evaded the Ghoul Priest, but that took 2 actions because of Frozen in Fear. We then moved into the parlor, and then we parleyed successfully to gain control of Leader Chandler. So there we go. So let's try and get rid of this Frozen in Fear. So we've got test 3, we've got guts. So we're running at a 2, a 3, 5. 5 versus 3. We are 2 up. Let's see what the Chaos Bag is. No. And we've also lost Leo. That's so annoying. Darn it. Oh well. We will remain Frozen in Fear. That's really annoying. Enemy phase, nothing happens. Upkeep. Gain a resource. No. We don't want to gain a resource. We've got the old keyring. So we will move into the... we'll move into the Mythos phase. Let's see what the encounter deck has. The encounter deck has Obscuring Fog. That's fine. No problem. Okay. So we will move into the investigation phase. 3 actions now. On to Bob. And we are still Frozen in Fear. Now the problem is we can't get rid of Frozen in Fear, so we could hang around here, or we could move in and start attacking the Ghoul Priest, but we're going to take some damage. I think that's what we do. I don't want to mess around any more than we have to. So let's use the Frozen in Fear and move in to back into the hallway. So annoying. Here we go, the Ghoul Priest. All right.
Hey, you look a bit afraid. Not so smart now, are we, Bob?
Okay, let's go ahead with our final action and fight. So we will use the meat cleaver. We will take a horror. So if we do now, we are 3. So 3 or fewer remaining sanity, which is true. So we are running at a +2 fight. So what are we? We are running at a 3, 5, 6, 7. We're running at a 7 fight versus 4. Let's make that an 8 versus 4, okay? So we're an 8 versus a 4, so we're 4 up. Let's see what the Chaos Bag has. 0, so we easily do that.
Ow!
So we meat cleaver the Ghoul Priest. We do 1, 2, 3 points of damage. Do 3 points of damage. Wow, great. Unfortunately, that's the end of our go, and we get to check our Frozen in Fear again. 3 versus a 3. We're 3v3. Let's see what the Chaos Bag has. It has a +1. Would you believe it? And get rid of the Frozen in Fear. Anyway, better late than never. So we will move into the enemy phase. Yes, the Ghoul Priest attacks us for 2 and 2. Let's just put them on Leader Chandler.
Oh, ow! That really stings.
There we go. I don't know what... This is a new thing on Octagon. I'm not sure... I guess it's just telling us... Is there a way to turn it off? Okay, so we'll move into the up. Oh, it's gone off now. We're not going to gain a resource. That's quite nice. That's a new addition where I think it's with hunter cards as well. It tells you when things are moving. It's a nice little addition. Okay, upkeep phase. We get another heavy furs, so that's plenty of fight cards. So we will move in to the Mythos phase, and there we go. The 7 Doom are... So we've got to flip this over. The tunnels below. A feral beast, roughly humanoid with a canine cast and hooves for feet, tears through the ground in front of you. Below the floor, you can see vast tunnels beneath the house. Fiendish howling echoes from deep within the underground caverns. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Done. And then discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a ghoul enemy is discarded. So let's see. Nope, that's rats. Nope. Oh, the Flesh Eater. Oh, boy. The Flesh Eater pops up. There we go. Interesting. All right. So, let's see. They're getting out. You hear a crazed howl outside, and suddenly all the creatures turn their attention to the sound. They rush to escape the house, breaking down doors and clawing at everything in their way. At the end of the enemy phase, each unengaged ghoul enemy moves 1 location towards the parlour. At the end of the round, +1 doom on this agenda for each ghoul enemy. So there we go. So this has been another game where both of the ghouls, the Icy Ghoul and the Flesh Eater, have popped up. Wow. Yes, so that presents some interesting opportunities, which I don't think we're going to be able to follow. But anyway, so that's that. So we've just got to draw from the encounter deck. Oh, we get another Oh my goodness. No, not again. Get another rotting remains. Sorry, grasping hands. Ooh, boy. So we're a 3, 4. We're a 4 versus a 3. So we're 1 up. So that's not too bad. We can't throw anything else in. Let's see what the Chaos Bag gives us. We get a -2. So 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 versus 3. We take a damage. Yeah, still okay. That's a lot of grasping hands we've had to deal with. Getting a bit low on, yeah, getting quite a bit of damage to us. Anyway, let's move into the investigation phase. 3 actions onto Bob. Now, obviously we can just go ahead and kill the Ghoul Priest. It's whether we could, if there was some way, if we had another elusive or something like that, we could think about going and killing the Flesh Eater, because I think given what we've got, we probably could do that. Unfortunately, we don't really have that opportunity to do that. I can't see that happening. We would just unfortunately die. So I think we're just going to have to go ahead and not take the Flesh Eater, which is unfortunate, but I don't think we can't tank any more damage, really. We're already up to 4 if we get hit. Ooh, and he's got Retaliate. Just realized. Ooh, so if we take any more damage, we're getting close to dying. So I think we just go ahead and finish off the Ghoul Priest. So first action, let's fight the Ghoul Priest again. We are going to take a horror. We're going to take a horror to do it. Do we need to take a horror? We actually don't need to take a horror, do we? No. So let's not. Because we don't need to. We only need to do 2 more points of damage. So we're already that. So we're +2 fight. So we are because we're, yep, 3 remaining from fewer sanity. So we're running at a 3, 4, 5, 6 with Lita, 7 with Dark Horse, 7 versus 4. Let's make that an 8 versus 4. There's no point pushing it any higher than 8 versus 4. So as long as we don't auto fail, we've done it, I think. Yep. Okay, let's go ahead. And the crowd goes hushed as Bob Jenkins lifts his meat cleaver up above his head and gives a howl of insanity almost as he brings it down. Whoops. What happened there? Oh! And it's a swing and a miss. It's a swing and a miss. And wow, that means we take 2 damage and 2 horror. Okay, so we can, well, Liz Chandler is going to have to go because we can't take any more damage. We can take 1 damage. So that was brutal. Okay, let's try again. Second action. So what are we talking about here now? We're talking about a 3. Actually, we do want to take a sanity this time. So we've added an extra horror to do an extra damage. Yep. So we are +2. So we are a 3, 5, 6. A 6 versus 4. A 7 versus 4. 8 versus 4. An 8 versus 4 again. And if we do this, we will do 2 points of damage. So again, we swing and we miss. We bring up the meat cleaver. The crowd is like silent, and we bring it down, and yes, we succeed, and we do 2 points of damage. The Ghoul Priest goes down. We heal a horror. There we go, and there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that was a bit tense at the end there, wasn't it? Wow, we got an auto fail and a retaliate, but luckily, Leader Chandler was able to tank 2 of the damage. So actually, we should have taken another damage here and another horror here, but that's fine. We're still okay. So anyway, that was a bit too close for comfort. So yes, so it's turn 11, and we managed to get let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So we would have got 7 victory points by turn 11. That's a really, really good run. Bob waves to the crowd, big flashy smile, waves the meat cleaver in his hand. And there we have it. So thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Now, next time, in episode 47 of the Investigator Games, we will be taking the Mystic, I think. The Mystic from the Edge of the Earth through the Gathering. And that is, of course, Lily Chen, the martial artist. Yes, Lily Chen, the martial artist. That should be really interesting. Played Lily Chen in Eldritch Horror. She was fantastic, so I'm really interested to see how she goes. But until then, thank you very much for watching. I'm Krabby Terror 8, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.